Hello there, Pisces. Thank you so much for stopping by for your weekly tarot video forecast. This forecast is for the week of March the 21st through the 28th. Shall we see what comes up? We're going to have one card per day. And with each card, we're going to look at what is the highlight of the day or what is the theme of the day, just depending. Of course, this is a collective reading, just want to remind you. So not every single thing I see here for Pisces is necessarily going to play out in your particular life. If you would like to have a private reading where I look at just your particular energies, then you can find my contact information at the website shown just above my head at the top of the screen. La da da da. If you want to tap into your own intuitive abilities, I also offer mentoring sessions. Same thing, contact information is at the top of the screen. Your cards are on the table now. Let's jump in. First of all, Saturday we have the Devil card. Dun dun dun. We'll talk about that. Sunday we have the Knight of Wands in reverse. Okay, so Saturday there's something coming up where you are facing a fear that maybe has been around for a while. This can really be actually facing a fear that has caused sort of a mindset. And so whenever we're actually facing this fear, it's really important to kind of pick it apart and see, is it based in reality? Is it something that's completely not based in reality? And if it's not, what's really the truth? You really want to pick that fear apart. Otherwise, the way the energy is sitting, if you don't pick that fear apart, we see it kind of pulling the puppet strings and you're making decisions based on this fear rather than based on the truth of the thing, the truth of reality, basically. So you don't want to let the fear run your life, because when fear runs our lives, we make some really bad decisions when we're operating in fear. Okay, so let love run your life. And that's how you get past this little obstacle without it causing too much chaos and damage in your life. Okay, now let's look at Sunday. Sunday, you guys have a Knight of Wands showing up in reverse. Huh, is this Pisces? Okay, good. I didn't think it was. I just wanted to double check real quick because this is somebody who's in your sphere of influence. And this is somebody that you're trying to schedule something with on Sunday, but they are just really, they're a commitment phobe, but not necessarily in the way that we normally think of commitment phobes. When we've got a Knight of Wands in reverse, like this person doesn't like to commit to any little thing too far ahead because they want to wait and see if something better might not come up. Their phobia is that they will commit to something and then something better will come up and then they'll already be committed to this other thing. And now they have to figure out how to get out of that commitment to move forward with the one that's better. So rather than go through all that, they would rather not commit to anything until just like the very last minute. So your best advice with a person like this that, is not wanting to commit to a meeting or a get together or, whatever, is to wait till about 20 minutes before you're ready to just do whatever you're going to do. And then, reach out to them and say, I'm getting ready to do blah, blah, blah. Would you like to come along? And that's going to be your most likely result to actually get this person to participate with you. Trying to twist their arm into committing to something ahead of time. It might work and they might show up. 50-50 chance. Better to just wait till the last minute and be like, this is what I'm doing. Do you want to come along? All right, so let's move into the weekday here after I wet my whistle a little. So we're going to walk through the weekday cards and then we're going to talk about them. We have the Ace of Pentacles in reverse on Monday. We have the Five of Wands in reverse on Monday. We have the Four of Wands, or that was Tuesday for the Five of Wands. Four of Wands in reverse on Wednesday. Isn't that interesting? We went 5 to 4. Then we have the High Priestess in reverse on Thursday. And on Friday, we have the Knight of Cups. Now, I don't want anybody getting all Twitter-pated about reversals because reversed cards are not necessarily bad. So, and most of these are not, like, I would consider them neutral to good, actually, that you have. So don't get Twitter pated about reversals. We don't do that around my channel. Other people maybe, but not mine. So let's look at Monday. Here's our first reversal. So perfect case in point. This is not a bad thing. This is you giving somebody a gift or a second chance. Or I don't know, maybe it's a 56th chance, but you're giving somebody another chance, or you're giving somebody a very tangible gift. Maybe you're seeing somebody on their birthday on Monday and you're bringing them a little gift. I don't know. Or maybe you've got an ex from 15 years ago that you decide to give a second chance. I don't know. But you're giving somebody a gift and you're giving somebody a second chance on Monday. Okay? Once again, collective reading. Not everything I say is going to apply to everyone, but that's what shows up for the majority of you. Now, Tuesday, by the way, that reversal wasn't so bad, was it? Tuesday, what do we have? 5 of Wands. Also in reverse. Now I take this as a good one. This talks about the idea that there's lots of chaos or there's lots of drama around us, but we aren't letting that take us off track. We're moving forward anyway. We're actually staying very focused and diligent on what it is that we actually want to accomplish. So the drama is not throwing us off course. All right? So I take that as a good card. It actually makes me think of when I was a little girl. I had 6 little brothers. And there was always noise in the house. We were all like about 2 years apart. Usually we were a year and 11 months apart. And so there was always noise in the house. There was always something going on because there were always toddlers and little ones for most of the time that I was in school. And so the 5 of Wands in reverse is that energy of somebody like having all this stuff going on in the background, and they're sitting in the middle of all of this basically chaos, things going in all kinds of different directions at the same time, doing their homework and really focused on their homework. And that was how I did homework. I did homework with all this stuff going on in the background. And I was a pretty decent student. I had to work at it. It didn't come easy to me, but I got pretty decent grades. But that's what this reminds me of, that kind of focus when there's lots of other distractions around. Okay? Now, let's look at Wednesday. We have the 4 of Wands coming up in reverse. 4 of Wands in reverse just says you're going to be away from home, or somebody is coming out of the nest if it's not you. So this can be like, say that you took a trip back to where you grew up. This would be you leaving that. Or if you have maybe a kid who's college age, maybe going off to college to start a semester. I'm really out of touch with when a semester starts and ends, so that may or may not be applicable for this time frame in life. But this is something where somebody is leaving, but when we have the 4 of Wands, they're leaving temporarily. They're gonna come back. This can be somebody getting a temporary duty assignment in the military. This can even be, sometimes this is 2 people separating, like a husband and a wife, or 2 life partners actually separating, and one of them actually comes out of the house and goes to live somewhere else. When this card comes up, that's temporary. Okay? Remember, collective reading, but still, for most of you, whatever is going on where somebody is leaving the nest, it's a temporary departure. They will be back, or you will be back. Now, let's look at Thursday. Here, we have the High Priestess, but she's in reverse. Now, a High Priestess is generally somebody like me, somebody who knows how to read energy, or possibly somebody who knows how to manipulate energy, maybe both. And when the High Priestess comes up in reverse, because if you think about it, somebody like me, I know a whole bunch of stuff that I should have no way of knowing, at least by physical means. I would have no way of knowing. So I hold a lot of secrets. So this High Priestess is kind of the same. She personifies somebody similar to me. Now, when she's in reverse, what's going on? What's going on is she's having a hard time picking up information. So Pisces, you guys are very intuitive yourself. Any water sign is highly intuitive. And so you may be having a hard time on Thursday picking up information intuitively that you would normally pick up. And so, to use a term that my dad says, this is somebody on Thursday, you may not know your butt from a hole in the ground. That's how my dad says it. I think it's kind of cute. But anyway, it just talks about that utter confusion that we have sometimes when we can't be objective about what we're looking at psychically. And honestly, like this is a great time to get an outsider's perspective that is not involved in your situation. So I'm going to say, if you're looking for a reader and you want somebody to read for you on Thursday because you are utterly and completely confused, pick me. Pick me. I do private readings. I would be happy to read for you. Little shameless self promotion going on there. Let's look at Friday. So, Friday, you have the Knight of Cups. And the Knight of Cups just talks about taking action in a way that creates and furthers the idea of love, either love for somebody else or love for yourself. I've had this card come up for people's anniversary dinners. I've had this come up for date night. I've had this come up for somebody received a card from their sweetie. I've had this come up for people doing self care, a little bit of spa time, long bath with candles and bubbles time. You know, all kinds of self care can come up on this card too. So it sort of depends what position you're in, Pisces. If you're doing this with somebody that you're interested in romantically, or you could even be expressing love for somebody else who's important to you as well. But this is taking action. When we have a Knight, it's more than saying how much you care about somebody, it's showing. So you're doing something for them or doing something with them, one of the two. Or, like I said, could be self care. And if it's self care, it's something that makes you feel a little bit pampered, a little bit luxurious, more so than usual. Okay, so that's what we have for the week, Pisces. Thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out with me. I'm looking forward to the idea of doing readings with you or mentoring sessions or Reiki or anything else. But if I don't see you for any of those during the week, then I'll see you all back on the next video. Peace out.